Hello everyone and welcome to Voice It Youth Talk Show, the youth talk show that has got everyone talking, where we discuss the day-to-day challenges that are faced by the youth in their daily lives that we're not as comfortable discussing with our parents or our guardians. Today we're going to be delving deeper into the theological aspect of marriage in this episode. I am your host, Brandon Chinembiri, and this is my co-host.
Hello everyone, I am your co-host, Nobukanya Hlabangana, and this is Voice It Youth Talk Show. So joining us today is Pastor Msimanga from Blair East District, who's going to be helping us into delving deeper into the biblical aspect of marriage. We welcome you, Pastor.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello everyone, a pleasure again to be with you today. Hope you find this useful.
Yes, definitely. So as we go into it, Pastor, what are the origins of marriage? Let me put it that way. Where does marriage originate from?
Yeah, it's not like a man's invention.
Okay.
Not anyone went into the laboratory or into a workshop and put, ingredients together. Then they said, this is marriage. No. Marriage dates back to right at creation. When God had created all what he did, the last of his creation was creating a human being. The Bible records in Genesis it was just the man, and when the man was found lonely, God created a helpmeet, one who looks like him. So he created the wife, and then she was given to Adam as the wife. So I'm saying it originates right from creation. It's what God gave it to the human beings, that they have to marry, man and wife.
So now dealing with an overruling issue in the community of same-sex marriages. So now, Pastor, would you please enlighten us on these type of marriages? Are they biblical? No, but...
Yes, I'll be very frank that same-sex marriages are a diversion from what God had intended. Straight from Genesis, male and female. It's just straight. There is no neutral, or no one is left guessing. It's just male and female. Even in animals, the way they are pairing, it's male and female. So it goes with human beings that it's just male and female. That one is very clear. Anyone who try and divert and say, I feel this, I want this, that's theirs. But if we really go back to the origins, the one who created human beings, the one who actually constructed marriage, did he give guidelines? Yes. What are the guidelines? Male and female. It's clear. Take your own choice, but from the origins, it's clear.
All right. So I heard someone say that when God created Eve for Adam, you said he created a helpmeet, not a help me eat. So what are some of the misconceptions when people are getting into marriage? What are some of the wrong reasons that people get into marriage?
First and foremost, marriage is about love.
Okay.
Let's get that one clearly. That love has to be mutual. The two, they have to love one another. That one has to be very clear. That's our starting point. But for someone now to say, I want like an ATM where I can press and money comes out, normally some ladies would think that they marry in order to get the support. Or some men also will say, I'm looking for a rich lady that would bring money into the home. It's a wrong motive if it goes that way. It has to be on love. That's the bond. That's the binding element. It has to be on love. Then we have to work hard now to generate the money or the income. Somebody may get married and say, look, I want somebody who wash my plates and wash my shirts and make up the bed. That's another wrong motive. You are not looking for a slave. You are looking for somebody whom you love. What if the machines can do it for you? Then that means you have no reason to marry, because what you are marrying for was a worker. What if you hire somebody to do it? So marriage has to be on love. I have to marry somebody that I love. And also, it's not for kids. Somebody says, look, I want a machine that will crank and give children. No, with or without children, marriage is still there. The basic line, we love one another. And then we'll get the fruits as we go on. Even no pressure from somebody who will say, but you should be getting married now. Everyone is married. No pressure. Let it come and let it be based on love.
Well, what really is needed in making a marriage work? Because I believe that as the youth, we see marriage as like a fairy tale where everything is just perfect. So would you please enlighten us on what are the basic necessities of making a marriage work out?
I must tell you, I've been married for 40 years.
For 40?
For 40 years, yes. This is, come December, it will be 41.
Sure.
It's a very practical institution. I got married in my late 20s. Of course, in my mind, it was like a very rosy institution where smiles are always there, where no mistakes are made, where it's always, there is that excitement. But it is a very practical institution. For your interest's sake, to show how practical it is, we differed right at honeymoon. 3-4 days into it, we just differed badly. So you have to be very practical and take one step at a time. Right at honeymoon, that world which was up in the sky just crumbled. We were now facing each other, so we had to work out a practical way that has brought us up to here. So it's not really whereby you are just like excited and look up in the sky and say it will always be. No. You just hit a roadblock. You have to find a bypass. You just hit a ditch. You find a way of how to, and you have to feel for one another. You have to sympathize with one another. You have to be there for each other. And also you should not be afraid of saying, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Those are magic words. If you make a mistake, don't be stubborn and say, I'm a man, I will not. Or don't be stubborn and say, I'm pretty, I will not. No, you just have to own up, I'm sorry. And of course, the other one, when they say, I'm sorry, the other one must receive and accept that apology. So it will be very practical. And also, there are many people who think love will always be bubbling. No. Love is very practical. You wake up one day, there's no love, you don't feel it, you don't like it, but still you have to know, I committed into this thing. Even if I don't feel like saying, morning, my love, I just have to. And surely if you do so, love will start bubbling again. Go out and bring flowers, make a phone call, I love you, I miss you. All those would really keep it going and generate it. And many people would think that maybe love is about sex, going into the bedroom. Yes, on an imaginary young people's mind, that's what it could be. But ask those of us who are old, it turns around and it ceases to be number one in the subject. It can come with a smaller percentage, but we can start asking, what are we eating? How are the children going? There are now major blocks that you have to deal with. Of course, bedroom or sex will become part of it, but as you go along, it turns around, it takes a very small percentage. But to many young people, they think, 99%. Yes, you may start there, but walk with me down the line, the scales will change. That's why the vow says, in health or in sickness, in prosperity or in poverty. So that would, take that. And also I must hasten to mention that age also will catch up. She will cease to be the pretty lady that I started with. My wife used to walk in these long shoes, and if I'm asking for them, she would know I mean the stilettos. But this time she has no hip of walking on those. But still nothing should change. Nothing should change. Even myself, I didn't have the wrinkles that you see. I didn't, look, I used to have dimples, but look, when I'm old, it's all wrinkles and I've gray hair, but still, with all that changes with age, we still have to keep together because we love one another.
Okay, so there's a grandson asked his grandfather, how do you still manage to call my grandmother sweetheart, love? And the grandfather said, the truth is that I forgot her name 10 years ago. So building on that,
that's crazy.
Okay, what are the biblical grounds of divorce? We know that we should try as much as possible to maintain the marriage, to make it work. But what are the biblical grounds of divorce?
Number one, right from the beginning, God says, I hate divorce. In other words, there is no room for it. It's man's invention. It is not in God's plan. Okay. That's why when he created these two, he says they are no longer two, but they are one. Meaning that I can't split myself. So these two, you are given that image of saying we are just one. There is no separation. There is no splitting. So according to the Bible, you are just going to cleave to one another till death do you part, or does you part. So that's the biblical background to it. But then the Bible simply would allow divorce or separation on grounds of unfaithfulness. Of course, even that one, Jesus says it was because of the hardness. When they were saying, yeah, but Moses allowed us to divorce, he says because it was the hardness of your hearts. So as far as God is concerned, you just stay together. Yes, you have the ground of saying, if one is unfaithful, yes, I can divorce them. Fair enough. But it doesn't rule out the element of forgiveness. You can forgive. And I must give the ladies a good mark, a credit to say, ladies have done well in forgiving the spouses who are unfaithful. Many homes are holding because ladies have done well. We give them a good clap of hands, they have done well. Men would find it very difficult. My wife has been unfaithful. Then you say, forgive. They say, never, never. Of course, few men have done it, but the majority, they have found it difficult. So it's meant for life. Divorce only on the grounds of unfaithfulness. And also there is a new thinking now that says, look, if the marriage is very abusive, yeah, she is beaten. I don't know if men would be beaten as well, but she is being beaten all the time and she is in danger of even being killed in this situation. Possibly that can be considered. Somebody says, well, they may separate. Yes, separation may. Possibly somebody will come to their senses and they come back again. So you've got those, but biblically, for life.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much for watching. That was a theological perspective on marriage. Catch us on the next segment of this episode where we answer your questions on the theological perspective of marriage. Welcome back to the second segment of this episode, which happens to be the question and answer segment, where we answer questions that are coming from you, the public at large.
Right, so we've got our first question from a youth from Ilona. She's saying, I am a single 30-year-old, but I am feeling pressure from my peers who are now married and with families. So how do I then deal with this pressure?
Yes, no, Kanya, you're talking of pressure from your friends. One thing that we must accept is that we are individuals. What happens to me doesn't have to happen to you. So you want to avoid that pressure from coming from within yourself. You feel there is pressure. It could be self-imposed. So we are saying, no, don't allow that pressure. Don't put yourself under pressure. You are an individual, things will happen differently with you. And also those friends should desist from putting pressure on others. It's like if I put pressure on you that you must be as tall as I am. How do you do it? We are totally different. So it's not good. I would say let's not do it. And don't allow people putting pressure. We're different.
Right.
But don't you think there's some pressure that, this is not my question, but don't you think there's some pressure that we put on ourselves? An example is if she's 30, obviously all of her friends are married and she's the only one who's not. So when they're sitting down and having conversation, obviously all those guys are speaking about their children, some their troublesome husbands, and she's not relating to any of that. So doesn't that in a way automatically give pressure without even trying?
Yes, I've already said that it doesn't automatically happen to me and then happens to you. Let's accept it, we're individuals. It will happen differently, and we cannot really allow that pressure to come onto us because, as I say, we are different. Okay. There are some people who will not be married for life. There are some people who rush into it because they feel under pressure and they don't even go a mile because they were running to release this pressure. Then pressure is gone, then what? So I'm simply saying resist inflicting pressure on yourself, and also don't allow anyone imposing pressure on you, and also those that are doing it, desist from it.
Oh, sorry, on that note, you said something else that's really important. My apologies.
Yes.
But when you say there's people who are not going to be married at all, there's some people are going to take it in a way that they are going to be maybe taking part in activities for people who are married, but they don't get actually married. There's people who see marriage maybe as an option, so that when you say there's people who are not going to get married, there's people who say, me, I won't get married, but I'll do everything else.
Okay.
That the married
exactly.
person does.
There are people who are not going to be married because maybe there is no matching partner, number one. Number two, statistics may not be equal. You find that gender is not 1 for 1. There could be more women than men, so that means the pairing up will not be equal. Coming to the point of saying, yes, I'm not going to commit myself, but I can live like a married person. I would have said that's inhuman, but that would sound strong. Human beings are supposed to relate. And then in that relationship, yes, there is marriage, there is commitment. But there are words like someone is loose. What does being loose mean? Mean they just go round and round, you take it easy and carefree. And also it's antisocial. So there has to be commitment, there has to be faithfulness. There has to be that which I called the one fleshness, if there is such a word.
Wow. Okay, we've got one person here who says, what are some ways to build a strong foundation for a future marriage? I've been dating this girl for 6 months. What are some of the ways that we could build a strong foundation so we actually, make it long term?
It's difficult to say X, Y, and Z. In other words, I cannot start a school and say to you A, B, C, D, go and do it. And then you leave this place and say, yes, I can do it. It's you take it one day at a time. But what would be key is you have to be yourself. In other words, you don't want to wear two faces. You have just one face, be yourself, so that we can read who you are. You are the same today, you are the same tomorrow. So number one is that you should be yourself. And you don't want to copy and say, I want to be like so. You have to be yourself, and you have to be practical, and you have to be honest, you have to be open, so that the one that you are teaming with, they know when you say this, that's the truth. And they know that when you don't like it, you say you don't like it. So I'm simply saying you just have to be yourself, be honest, be open, and be committed.
Okay.
All right, so we've got another question here. What role does personal growth and development play in preparation for marriage?
Personal growth, I'm assuming you are talking of maturity. That's why babies do not get married, because they are still immature, they are not responsible. they are not capable of handling issues. So the very opposite that I'm stating on the other side, that you have to mature, you have to be responsible, you have to arrive at a point where you can make decisions and stay with them. And also, somebody has to be prepared to go through it. It won't be easy, but you have the commitment, you're prepared that, look, I have to work and make this thing work. So as an individual, you need to be mature, and also you need to be prepared to face tough times. You enter into it with that preparation. You know it's not going to be easy, but you have the commitment to do it, and you have the maturity and responsibility.
Right.
So someone is asking, says, I'm dating someone and we're still starting. What are some of the red flags to watch out for in a potential partner for marriage?
Is this person honest?
Okay.
Do they keep their word? Do they love you? Can they stand with you in public? Are they able to make decisions? Because if someone doesn't not make decisions, how are you going? To me, it's a red flag, because you have someone who can make a decision. And if someone is not honest, today they say this, so how are they going to be honest in future? Even just telling the truth, they can't just tell the truth. So all those are red flags that say, wait a minute. Then next time you're more careful and you see it's coming back again. But unfortunately, young people, they kind of get too excited that even if you say, hey, watch out for this, watch out for this.
The red flags become pink.
They would not even when parents are saying, no. Like Samson says, she pleases me. It was a red flag. Samson don't, but she says, it pleases me. So I'm simply saying that we need to be very practical. Yes, it has happened. How come? Let's look into it. And surely it would show itself. Don't swallow it all by excitement, thinking things are going to be okay and just cover up. Yes, I saw it, but I'll cover up. No. It will show itself.
On that note of being public, just yesterday I saw someone in a comment section on a certain video saying, my ex-boyfriend used to tell me that he can't walk with me in public, so he would walk forward and tell me to follow behind him because he didn't want to be seen with me.
If they can't walk in public with you
Great.
when you're still pretty and you
What's
know,
more when you're now old?
Possibly you now have a baby, you are this, you are no longer how then? So if they can't stand with you in public, that's a red flag.
Okay.
Yes. Don't try and think you're going to develop it
And make it
better.
white. Okay, we've got another question. How can we handle conflicts and disagreements constructively in a future marriage?
Conflicts will always come. You are not angels, you are human beings. A conflict simply means I'm thinking this way and someone is thinking that way. So we have to now work together to find a middle line. Middle line doesn't mean 50-50. Middle line may mean if really I was so much away, I can come close this way. If it means, so it's agreeing, yes, we have a difference. Let's sit down and work out a solution. It's a thing that we're going to work together. Number one, agree there is a problem. And number two, what's the best way of coming out of it? No one should say, I'm right and you're wrong. So we are all willing, we are all in a boat that is sinking. So we're going to work together to make sure we close the gates and we sail home.
Actually,
there's a person who says, what are some practical ways to maintain my personal identity when I'm in a relationship? Because sometimes I tend to fail to be my own person and associate myself too much with my partner when I'm dating someone.
Personal identity is what you do to yourself. if you're not confident with yourself, then you let people tell you what you should and what you should be. But personal identity, believe in yourself, be confident about yourself, and don't allow people to impose their identity on you, because I'm me, I can't be you.
Okay. There's another question from another youth. How can we, or I, develop healthy communication skills to prepare for marriage?
Communication, it's not a one-day exercise. You learn as you go. That's right. But the one thing that you want to do, you want to be honest. If I'm angry, I'll say, look, I'm upset. If you don't like it, I'll tell you I don't like it. And then the other, oh, you don't like it, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. So you develop, you learn to, for instance, as I would say, it was difficult for me to say I'm sorry, very difficult. But now it's no longer. No, it's no longer. And you say it and you mean it. At times we even accompany that with a kiss. And it really underlines it.
It's interesting. So someone's also asking here, what resources or tools are available for us who are trying to learn more about marriage preparation?
Resource number one, Mina, which I find very helpful, my parents. You may not believe it. They are not as educated as I am, but there is a lot that they taught me. To me, that's resource number one. Our age, the young people of today, never think you are smarter than your parents. You're not. I'll also mention that the Bible is not obsolete. It's not outdated. That's the foundation. That's the original. That's where counseling is. And also there are people, I can't say good people, but there are those that have walked the way. It's good to learn from them, not to copy them, but to learn from them. Basically, I would, yes, we go to church. Church will come up with programs, but never be full of yourself and say you now know everything. Learn, I've already said, your starting point is from your own parents.
Thank you so much for watching this segment, our question and answer. Feel free to keep sending your questions because we're ready to answer them. Catch us on our next episode, and thank you so much for watching this episode.